Welcome to this playground where we're going to be looking at loops. Now, if you've forgotten about loops, I just want to remind you of the Dead or Alive song, "You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record." Anyway, enough of the 80s music. So we have here a bunch of lines of code that do one thing, and they print a number. 10, 11, 12. I'm not even going to say that. I'm just going to run it. And there you can see it's printed it all out. Now, I cheated a little bit and copied and pasted that in from elsewhere, but you can imagine having to type that code out by hand over and over and over. It also allows for the possibility of errors. And this is where our looping comes into it, in being able to reduce the number of lines of code that we write, because we're going to perform a repetitive operation. So let's now convert this into a loop. So let's go ahead and make the change. So we're going to say for, and I say num in 10 to 15. So you should be seeing that we're starting to use some constructs that we've already used. And I'm going to now put my curly brackets in, and it's still asking me for something to do. So I'm going to now go print, and I want to print, and I'm going to say number is, and now I use this particular type of construct where I use the slash and then open and close the brackets and put in it what I wanted to be printed out. So what's going to happen is I'm going to replace all of that with the value that is in there. So I'm just going to remove this code so you can see that I'm not cheating and that this code here will work. And there we have it. Number is. And we've taken those 6 lines of code and converted it down to 2 lines of code. Let's continue on looking at these kinds of constructs, this for in construct. Now let's imagine I have a array called lecturers, and inside that array I'm going to have the name of all the lecturers that I know. So I start with David, and then, yes, you guessed it, Tristan will be the next one. And then our last one is going to be Steve. So I now have this lovely array, and I want to print out from the array each entry. Now, if you remember, I could go print lecturers, and I go 0. And that's going to give me, when I run the code now, David. And that's fantastic. And if I wanted to print out the next one, I would go again. And we'll go this time 1. And we'll run our code, and we get David and Tristan. But what you'll notice is I'm having to write that same code. So this is where the loops come in handy again. Similar to what we had, I'm going to say for lecturer in lecturers. So for lecturer in lecturers. And now all I say is print lecturer. And I run the code, And there we have it. David, Tristan, Steve. 2 lines of code. That's all it took. And we've looped through our array to print each element out. So as you can imagine, if you're getting data from somewhere else, another source outside of your app, and bringing that into your app and storing it within an array, you may not know how big that array is. So using the for in loop in this situation would allow you to loop through each element in your array and get that data. So the looping through arrays is an excellent way to look at what's there and then to be able to manipulate that data.